Parashah number 7, Vayetze. He went out. Genesis chapter 28, verse 10 through 32, verse 2. Yaakov went out from Beersheba and traveled toward Haran. He came to a certain place and stayed the night there, because the sun had set. He took a stone from the place, put it under his head, and laid down there to sleep. He dreamt that there before him was a ladder resting on the ground with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of Hashem were going up and down on it. Then suddenly Hashem was standing there next to him, and he said, "I am Hashem, the Elohim of Abraham, your grandfather, and the Elohim of Yitzchak. The land on which you are lying I will give to you and to your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the grains of dust on the earth. You will expand to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. By you and your descendants, all the families of the earth will be blessed. Look, I am with you. I will guard you wherever you go, and I will bring you back into this land, because I won't leave you until I have done what I have promised you." Yaakov awoke from his sleep and said, "Truly, Hashem is in this place, and I didn't know it." Then he became afraid and said, "This place is fearsome. This has to be the house of Elohim. This is the gate of heaven." Yaakov got up early in the morning, took the stone he had put under his head, set it up as a standing stone, poured olive oil on its top, and named the place Bethel, meaning house of Elohim, or house of God. But the town had originally been called Luz. Yaakov took this vow: "If Elohim will be with me and will guard me on this road that I am traveling, giving me bread to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return to my father's house in peace, then Hashem will be my Elohim. And this stone, which I have set up as a standing stone, will be Elohim's house. And of everything you give me, I will faithfully return 1/10 to you." Chapter 29. Continuing his journey, Yaakov came to the land of the people of the east. As he looked, he saw a well in a field, and there was 3 flocks of sheep lying next to it, because they watered the sheep from that well. The stone on the well's mouth was large, and only when all the flocks had gathered there would they roll the stone away from the opening of the well and water the sheep. Then they would put the stone back in its place on the well's opening. Yaakov said to them, "My brothers, where are you from?" They answered, "We are from Haran." He asked them, "Do you know Lavan, the grandson of Nahor?" They said, "We do." He asked them, "Are things going well with him?" "Yes," they answered. "And here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep." He said, "Look, there's still plenty of daylight left, and it isn't time to bring the animals home. So water the sheep and go, and put them out to pasture." They answered, "We can't, not until all the flocks have been gathered together, and they roll the stone away from the opening of the well. That's when we water the sheep." While he was still speaking with him, Rachel came with her father's sheep, because she took care of them. When Yaakov saw Rachel, the daughter of Lavan, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Lavan, his mother's brother, Yaakov went up and rolled the stone away from the opening of the well and watered the flock of Lavan, his mother's brother. Yaakov kissed Rachel and wept aloud. Yaakov told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rivka's son. And she ran and told her father. When Lavan heard the news of Yaakov, his sister's son, he ran to meet him, hugged him and kissed him, and brought him to his house. Yaakov told Lavan all that had happened. Lavan said to him, "You are indeed my own flesh and blood." After Yaakov had stayed with him for a whole month, Lavan said to him, "Why should you work for me for nothing, just because you are my relative? Tell me, how much I should pay you." Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was good looking, with beautiful features. Yaakov had fallen in love with Rachel and said, "I will work for you 7 years in exchange for Rachel, your younger daughter." Laban answered, "Better that I give her to you than to someone else. Stay with me." So Yaakov worked 7 years for Rachel, and it seemed as only a few days to him, because he was so much in love with her. Yaakov said to Laban, "Give me my wife, since my time is finished, so that I can start living with her." Laban gathered all the men of the place and gave a banquet. In the evening he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to Yaakov, and he went in and slept with her. Laban also gave his slave girl Zilpah to his daughter Leah as her slave girl. In the morning Yaakov saw that he was with Leah, and he said to Laban, "What kind of thing is this that you've done to me? Didn't I work for you for Rachel? Why have you deceived me?" Laban answered, "In our place, that isn't how it's done, to give the younger daughter before the firstborn. Finish the marriage week of this one, and we'll give you the other one also in exchange for the work you will do for me during yet another 7 years." Yaakov agreed to this, so he finished her week, and Laban gave him his daughter Rachel as his wife. Laban also gave to his daughter Rachel his slave girl Bilhah as her slave girl. So not only did Yaakov go in and sleep with Rachel, but he also loved Rachel more than Leah. Then he served Laban another 7 years. Hashem saw that Leah was unloved, so he made her fertile, while Rachel remained childless. Leah conceived and gave birth to a son, whom she named Reuben, in Hebrew meaning, "See, a son." For she said, "It is because Hashem has seen how humiliated I have been, but now my husband will love me." She conceived again, gave birth to a son, and said, "It is because Hashem has heard that I am unloved. Therefore he has given me this son also." So she named him Shimon, which in Hebrew means hearing. Once more she conceived and had a son, and she said, "Now this time my husband will be joined to me, because I have borne him 3 sons." Therefore she named him Levi, meaning joining. She conceived yet again and had a son, and said, "This time I will praise Hashem." Therefore she named him Yehuda, which in Hebrew means praise. Then she stopped having children. Chapter 30. When Rachel saw that she was not bearing children for Yaakov, she envied her sister and said to Yaakov, "Give me children or I will die." This made Yaakov angry at Rachel. And he answered, "Am I in Elohim's place? He's the one who is denying you children." She said, "Here is my maid Bilhah. Go, sleep with her and let her give birth to a child that will be laid on my knees, so that through her I too can build a family." So she gave him Bilhah, her slave girl, as his wife, and Yaakov went in and slept with her. Bilhah conceived and bore Yaakov a son. Rachel said, "Elohim has judged in my favor. Indeed, he has heard me and given me a son." Therefore she called him Dan, meaning he judged. Bilhah, Rachel's slave girl, conceived again and bore Yaakov a second son. Rachel said, "I have wrestled mightily with my sister and won," and called him Naphtali, which in Hebrew means my wrestling. When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, she took Zilpah, her slave girl, and gave her to Yaakov as his wife. Zilpah, Leah's slave girl, bore Yaakov a son. And Leah said, "Good fortune has come," calling him Gad, which in Hebrew means good fortune. Zilpah, Leah's slave girl, bore Yaakov a second son. And Leah said, "How happy I am! Women will say, I am happy, and called him Asher, which in Hebrew means happy. During the wheat harvest season, Reuben went and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, please, give me some of your son's mandrakes so that I can be fertile. She answered, isn't it enough that you have taken away my husband? You have to take my son's mandrakes too? Rachel said, very well. In exchange for your son's mandrakes, sleep with him tonight. When Yaakov came in from the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, you have to come and sleep with me because I've hired you with my son's mandrakes. So Yaakov slept with her that night. Elohim listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Yaakov a fifth son. Leah said, Elohim has given me my hire because I gave my slave girl to my husband. So she called him Yisachar, which in Hebrew means hire or reward. Leah conceived again and bore a sixth son to Yaakov. Leah said, Elohim has given me a wonderful gift. Now at last my husband will live with me, since I have borne him six sons. And she called him Zebulun, which in Hebrew means living together. After this, she gave birth to a daughter and named her Dinah, which in Hebrew means controversy over rights. Then Elohim took note of Rachel, heeded her prayer, and made her fertile. She conceived, had a son, and said, Elohim has taken away my disgrace. She called him Yosef, which in Hebrew means may he add, saying, may Hashem add to me another son. After Rachel had given birth to Yosef, Yaakov said to Lavan, send me on my way so that I can return to my own place, to my own country. Let me take my wives for whom I have served you and my children, and let me go. You know very well how faithfully I have served you. Lavan answered him, if you regard me favorably, then please listen. I have observed the signs that Hashem has blessed me on account of you. Name your wages, he said. I will pay them. Yaakov replied, you know how faithfully I have served you and how your livestock have prospered under my care. The few you had before I came have increased substantially. Hashem has blessed you wherever I went. But now, when will I provide for my own household? Lavan said, what should I give you? Nothing, answered Yaakov. Just do this one thing for me. Once more I will pasture your flock and take care of it. I will also go through the flock and pick out every speckled, spotted, or brown sheep and every speckled or spotted goat. These and their offspring will be my wages. And I will let my integrity stand as witness against me in the future. When you come to look over the animals constituting my wages, every goat that isn't speckled or spotted, and every sheep that isn't brown, will count as stolen by me. Lavan replied, as you have said, so be it. That day Lavan removed the male goats that were streaked or spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled or spotted, and every one with white on it, and all the brown sheep, turned them over to his sons, and put 3 days' distance between himself and Yaakov. Yaakov fed the rest of Lavan's flocks. Yaakov took fresh-cut branches from poplar, almond, and plane trees and made white streaks on them by peeling off the bark. Then he set the rods he had peeled upright in the water troughs, so that the animals would see them when they came to drink. And since they bred when they came to drink, the animals mated in sight of the rods and gave birth to streaked, speckled, and spotted young. Yaakov divided the lambs and had the animals mate with the streaked and brown in the flock of Lavan. He also kept his own livestock separate and did not have them mixed with Lavan's flock. Whenever the hardier animals came into heat, Yaakov would set up the rods in the watering troughs so that the animals would see them and conceive in front of them. But he didn't set up the rods in front of the weaker animals. Thus the more feeble were Laban's, and the stronger Yaakov's. In this way the man became very rich, and he had large flocks along with male and female slaves, camels and donkeys. Chapter 31. But then he heard what Laban's sons were saying. Yaakov has taken away everything that our father once had. It's from what used to belong to our father that he's gotten so rich. He also saw that Laban regarded him differently than before. Hashem said to Yaakov, "Return to the land of your ancestors, to your kinsmen. I will be with you." So Yaakov sent for Rachel and Leah and had them come to the field where his flock was. He said to them, "I see by the way your father looks that he feels differently towards me than before. But the Elohim of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength, and that your father has belittled me and has changed my wages 10 times. But Elohim did not allow him to do me any damage. If he said, 'The speckled will be your wages,' then all the animals gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, 'The streaked will be your wages,' then all the animals gave birth to streaked young. This is how Elohim has taken away your father's animals and give them to me. Once, when the animals were mating, I had a dream. I looked up, and there in front of me the male goats which mated with the females were streaked, speckled, and mottled. Then in the dream the angel of Elohim said to me, 'Yachav!' And I replied, 'Hinene, here I am.' He continued, 'Raise your eyes now and look. All the male goats mating with the female are streaked, speckled, and mottled, for I have seen everything Laban has been doing to you. I am the Elohim of Bethel, where you anointed a standing stone with oil, where you vowed your vow to me. Now get up, get out of this land, and return to the land where you were born.' Rachel and Leah answered him, 'We no longer have any inheritance from our father's possession, and he considered us foreigners, since he has sold us. Moreover, he has consumed everything he received in exchange for us. Nevertheless, the wealth which Elohim has taken away from our father has become ours and our children's anyway. So whatever Elohim has told you to do, do.' Then Yaakov got up, put his sons and wives on the camels, and carried off all his livestock, along with all the riches he had accumulated, the livestock in his possession, which he had acquired in Padan Aram, to go to Yitzchak his father in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, so Rachel stole the household idols that belonged to her father, and Yaakov outwitted Laban the Arami by not telling him of his intended flight. So he fled with everything he had. He departed, crossed the Euphrates River, and set out for the hill country of Gilad. Not until the third day was Laban told that Yaakov had fled. Laban took his kinsmen with him and spent the next 7 days pursuing Yaakov, overtaking him in the hill country of Gilad. But Elohim came to Laban the Arami in a dream that night and said to him, 'Be careful that you don't say anything to Yaakov, either good or bad.' When Laban caught up with Yaakov, Yaakov had set up camp in the hill country. So Laban and his kinsmen set up camp in the hill country of Gilad. Laban said to Yaakov, 'What do you mean by deceiving me and carrying off my daughters as if they were captives taken in war? Why did you flee in secret and deceive me and not tell me? I would have sent you off with joy and singing to the music of tambourines and lyres. You didn't even let me kiss my sons and daughters goodbye. What a stupid thing to do. I have it in my power to do you harm. But the Elohim of your father spoke to me last night and said, "Be careful that you don't say anything to Yaakov, either good or bad." Granted that you had to leave because you longed so deeply for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods?" Yaakov answered Laban, "Because I was afraid," I said. "I suppose you take your daughters away from me by force." But if you find your gods with someone, that person will not remain alive. So with our kinsman to witness, if you spot anything that I have which belongs to you, take it back." Yaakov did not know that Rachel had stolen them. Lavan went into Yaakov's tent, then into Leah's tent, and into the tent of the two slave girls, but he did not find them. He left Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household gods, put them in the saddle of the camel, and was sitting on them. Lavan felt all around the tent, but did not find them. She said to her father, "Please don't be angry that I'm not getting up in your presence, but it's the time of my period." So he searched, but he did not find the household gods. Then Yaakov became angry and started arguing with Lavan. "What have I done wrong?" he demanded. "What is my offense that you have come after me in hot pursuit? You have felt around in all my stuff, but what have you found of all your household goods? Put it here, in front of my kinsmen and yours, so that they can render judgment between the two of us. I have been with you for these 20 years. Your female sheep and goats haven't aborted their young, and I haven't eaten the male animals in your flocks. If one of your flock was destroyed by a wild animal, I didn't bring the carcass to you, but bore the loss myself. You demanded that I compensated you for any animal stolen, whether by day or by night. Here's how it was for me. During the day, thirst consumed me, and at night, the cold. My sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I have been in your house, I served you 14 years for your two daughters, and 6 years for your flock, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, the one whom Yitzchak fears, had not been on my side, by now you would certainly have already sent me away with nothing. Elohim has seen how distressed I've been and how hard I've worked, and last night he passed judgment in my favor." Lavan answered Yaakov, "The daughters are mine, the children are mine, the flocks are mine, and everything you see is mine. But what can I do today about these daughters of mine or the children they have borne? So now, come, let's make a covenant, I and you, and let it stand as a testimony between me and you." Yaakov took a stone and set it upright as a standing stone. Then Yaakov said to his kinsmen, "Gather some stones." And they took stones and made a pile of them and ate there by the pile of stones. Lavan called it Yagar Sahaduta, which in Aramaic means pile of witness, while Yaakov called it Galed, which in Hebrew also means pile of witness. Lavan said, "This pile witnesses between me and you today. This is why it is called Galed, and also Hamitzpah, which means the watchtower. Because he said, 'May Hashem watch between me and you when we are apart from each other. If you cause pain to my daughters, or if you take wives in addition to my daughters, then even if no one is there with us, still Elohim is witness between me and you.'" Lavan also said to Yaakov, "Here is this pile, and here is this standing stone, which I have set up between me and you. May this pile be witness, and may the standing stone be a witness, that I will not pass beyond this pile to you, and you will not pass beyond this pile and this standing stone to me to cause harm. May the Elohim of Abraham and also the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us." But Yaakov swore by the one his father Yitzchak feared. Yaakov offered a sacrifice on the mountain and invited his kinsmen to the meal. They ate the food and spent the whole night on the mountain.